And an interesting moment on the Dan Patrick show. At an interesting moment on the Dan Patrick show, Dan Patrick asked Bill Simmons if he has seen the latest 30 for 30 documentary. This one is on the Celtics and the Lakers. And if you don't know, Bill Simmons is the biggest Celtics fan in the world. And things got really interesting really quick.
Like July 28th, Summer League. It's so different than what we grew up with, I think.
He's Bill Simmons, TheRinger.com, the BS Podcast, Malcolm Gladwell, and Judd Apatow, his guest this week. What'd you think of the Lakers-Celtic 30 for 30?
Did not watch it.
Really?
How about that? Yeah.
By choice?
Just didn't watch it. I mean, there's been 3 different Celtics-Lakers type documentaries already. So, I mean, it's on my DVR. At some point I'll get to it. 5 hours seems excessive. It's just, I think with 30 for 30 now, they look at the time slot more than what the right length of something is. So 5 hours just seems long. So at some point I'll get to it.
I'm shocked that you didn't watch it.
Tell me one piece of that documentary that I haven't seen already.
I thought that, well, yeah, being a hardcore fan, but I thought that there
I've
were
seen all of it. I lived through it.
Yeah. I covered it, but I still watched it again. I don't know. I guess it just I think what it did, it gave me a refresher of what a real rivalry is. We're trying to make Cleveland Golden State a rivalry. It's not. Not in the sense of what a rivalry is. I mean, those were 2 great teams. Great, you had everything that you wanted in a Hollywood script. If you got black, white, West Coast, East Coast, the plotting white guys, and then you had, Showtime, you had drama, the coach. I mean, there was just so much involved in it. And I just loved the way it, how they played the game and how many Hall of Famers were out there at one time. So,
it was like a 21 or 23 team league at that point. I remember writing a column like 12, 13 years ago about this, about, if you had the 30 team league in 1984, Kevin McHale's like on the Mavericks. It would have been impossible to have that many good guys in the same team. And that's why, like with the Warriors, Cavs, people, it was weird. People reacted to that finals in a way that I didn't expect. I thought the level of basketball was out of control. I just loved it. I know it ended in 5 games. I know the Warriors are, pretty invincible. Probably could have swept if Cleveland didn't get hot, but I went to game 1 and I went to game 3 and game 5. And I just thought the level of basketball was as high as I've ever seen. And I really thought the teams brought the best out of each other. That was the best Durant's ever played.
Yeah.
That was the best Kyrie has ever played. That was the best Steph Curry has ever played. It was the best offensively that I think LeBron has ever played. When you think of it that way, you have the top 4 guys in the series, one of whom is the 3rd best player of all time. I think Durant has a chance to be the 3rd or 4th best forward of all time. Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. Kyrie is, in my opinion, the best offensive guard I've ever seen, 6'3" and under, like in terms of his shot making. I've never seen any guard be able to make more types of shots than he makes.
Has the Ringer done this? Have you done this? We brought up this topic. Bill Livingston from the Cleveland Plain Dealer said Kyrie was the greatest below-the-rim finisher that he's ever seen. Have you ever done a list of below-the-rim finishers in NBA history?
I've never had, but I mean, Tiny Archibald, when I was growing up, was like, if you did a championship belt for it, he had it for a while. Kevin Johnson, I think, was up there. But the thing with Kyrie, I had Kevin Durant on my podcast last week, and he was saying, he was just raving about Kyrie, and then somehow it turned into one of those dumb sports media stories, because he mentioned how I was saying that I thought Kyrie was better than Iverson because he can make more shots and he's more efficient, and he's just, it's evolution. He's 15 years later. He's just a better offensively than Iverson was. And he agreed, and he was talking about how he's never seen, he can't believe nobody blocks his shot ever, Kyrie. Mm-hmm. And for what you just said, he's always below the rim, but he never gets his shot blocked. I think he's incredible. And it would be interesting to see if he had his own team. I don't think he was ready for it 3-4 years ago. But let's say LeBron goes to the Lakers, Kyrie's a free agent, he goes somewhere. Could he be the best guy on a championship team? I'm not sure, because he really is a one-on-one player. He's not somebody that makes his teammates better.
True.
But he's the best version of a one-on-one player at that position I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means. Is that 45 wins? Could you win a title that way? I guess it would depend who they built the team around him.
So how are you doing? Are you personally? You good?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a really really fun 2017 trying to build a multimedia business, especially after, getting experience with it with Grantland, and then kind of using the experience we had with that, but then all the different opportunities you have with new media and just where stuff's going and how people consume the internet and how different things are in a lot of ways than they were 6 years ago. It's been pretty cool, but to me it always goes back, and I'm sure you agree with this. If you have people that you work with that you like working with, every day is a good day, and that's what we have. That's what we built.
I'll let you know if I feel that. I'll let you know when I find that.
Your guys that are working for you right now are cringing.
So am I.
It's true though. If you you and I have talked about this a lot, because we were in work situations once upon a time that you start to feel like you're just angry for no reason, and you're just mad, and when you wake up that way, it really does infect your day.
Well, you get mad at yourself too, because you put yourself in a position. I mean, there's a lot of things that are involved in it, but you're right. Like you're angry, and then you have to be angry at yourself.
Yeah, the best situation if you're a creative person, I think, is to be around people that you like working with, and to like what you're doing, And I think if you can do both of those things, you're having a pretty good time. So, I've had touches of it. I've had stretches where I had both, and now we're in another stretch where it's like I just like the people I work with. I like what I'm doing.
Well, it's good to touch base with you again, and enjoy the draft. It should be fun.
Thank you. Can't wait to see what the Celtics do. My fear is that they're going to trade down again.
So that's interesting on a number of levels. So Simmons is the founder and creator of 30 for 30. He was the executive producer for a number of years prior to departing ESPN. Also, as a Celtics nut, totally not even watching, that's kind of surprising. Later on in the interview, Dan gets into a more personal question with Bill, which was very interesting. It went to a place that that got even more ESPN punchy without mentioning ESPN, which is always an interesting spot. Working someplace you don't like? Hating your bosses? Dan Patrick and Keith working for people you don't like? Hating your bosses? Dan Patrick and Bill Simmons have a lot of experience with that. I wish that Patrick would let it rip completely at some point. I don't think he will, but I'd love to hear it. I think there's a lot more around his departure and his misery in his late ESPN days than he's let out recently. We're hearing lots from Simmons in different ways and on different podcasts. He's more he's a CEO now, so it's like he almost has he's got no one he's got to kiss up to at this point. So, a very interesting conversation.